Hi, boys and girls. It's time for science story time. Today we're going to learn how to make a chemical reaction. And we're going to use pennies so we can see that our reaction works. But first, we're going to read a story about Benny and his pennies. Now, in this book, Benny goes for a walk. And on his walk, he sees lots of people that he knows. And he tries to buy things from them using his pennies. Benny's Pennies. Now, in this book is written by Pat Brisson, and Bob Barner drew the pictures. Benny had 5 new pennies. What shall I buy? He asked. Buy something beautiful, said his mother. Buy something to eat, said his brother. Buy something to wear, said his sister. Woof, said his dog. Meow, said his cat. Okay, said Benny, I will. And he walked down the road in the sun with his 5 new pennies. Pretty soon she saw Mrs. Hill. She was cutting roses. Will you sell me a rose for a penny? Asked Benny. I will, said Mrs. Hill. Then Benny walked down the road in the sunshine with a beautiful rose and 4 new pennies. Pretty soon he saw Lucy May. She was baking cookies. Will you sell me a cookie for a penny? Asked Benny. Okay, said Lucy May. Then Benny walked down the road in the sunshine with a rose and a cookie and 3 new pennies. Pretty soon he saw Michael Bess. Michael Bess was making hats. Will you sell me a hat for a penny? Asked Benny. Yes, said Michael Bess. I forgot his name there for a minute. I had to check the book again. That happens sometimes when we read. Then Benny walked down the road with a rose and a cookie and a hat and 2 new pennies. Pretty soon he saw his butcher. He was cutting meat. Will you sell me a bone for a penny? Asked Benny. I sure will, said the butcher. Who do you think that bone is for? Then Benny walked down the road in the sunshine with a rose and a cookie and a hat and a bone and 2 new pennies. Whew, this time I remember the names of all the pennies. I was scared I was going to forget and have to look at the book like I did last time. But that would have been okay. Books are there to help us remember things. That's one thing books do well. Pretty soon Benny saw Mr. Beale. Mr. Beale was catching fish. Will you sell me a fish for a penny? Asked Benny. It's a deal, said Mr. Beale. Then Benny walked down the street in the sunshine with a rose and a cookie and a hat and a bone and a fish, but no new pennies. I'm back, he called, and look what I did. I bought everything you said. It's beautiful, said his mother. Yum, said his brother. I like it, said his sister. Woof, said his dog. Meow, said his cat. Thank you, Benny, said everyone. You're welcome, said Benny. The end. Well, Benny was very generous. He had 5 pennies and he spent them all to make his family happy. Now I'm going to show you how to make a chemical reaction. That's when two different materials react. They work together to make something happen. Now you can't see the chemical reaction happening in our experiment, but you can use your penny and you will see by the way your penny changes color that a reaction happened. Now you can do this with your grown-up. When you're done with watching the video, can go back with you and help you follow the instructions and pause the video when you need to. Now to do this reaction, you're going to need vinegar. Vinegar comes in a bottle, but I poured it into a cup to make it easier to do the video with because I didn't want to slip and drop the vinegar when I was busy talking to you. You need an empty container, like an unbreakable cup, to do the reaction in. You need a little bit of salt. You need something to stir with. And you need two types of pennies. You need a penny like this that is nice and shiny. And you need a penny like this that has turned dark. And first you take your cup, and it has air inside, and air has oxygen in it. You can't see the oxygen, but it's there, and when we mix the ingredients together, they're going to make changes on the penny that you can see. So you take your cup that has your oxygen in it, your invisible oxygen, and then you take your vinegar, and you pour a little bit of vinegar in the cup. You don't need a lot. And then you take your dark penny and you drop it in the vinegar so that the vinegar covers it all over. And then you're going to take some salt. And you're going to put a little salt in with your vinegar and your penny. Now the salt isn't part of the chemical reaction, but it rubs the penny a little bit when you store it, and that makes it easier for the vinegar to get in all the tiny, tiny little bumps that are there from the pictures and the words on the penny. And then you're going to take your spoon or your popsicle stick or whatever you're using to stir with, and you're going to stir everything up a little bit. And then you're going to take your vinegar and your penny, and you're going to put it someplace where nobody will knock it over, and you're going to go and do something else. You can go and watch television. You can go and play a game. Best of all, you and your grown-up can sit and look at a book together. And every few minutes, maybe when you've read 3 pages or something, you're going to go back and you're going to check on your penny, and you're going to give it another stir or two. And the reason you're doing other things in between is because it takes a while for the reaction to work, and it's helpful when we go do other things while we're waiting. It helps us be patient. And eventually, when you look at the penny, you will find that the penny has gotten shiny again. And you can take the penny that was shiny to begin with, and your grown-up can help you fish out the penny that was dark, and you can compare them, and you will see that now they are both shiny. And that happened because the vinegar reacted with the oxygen in the air, and together they caused a chemical reaction that caused the copper on your penny to get shiny again, because pennies are coated with copper. I had fun with you today, boys and girls, reading about Benny spending his pennies, and doing a chemical reaction with you. Remember it takes a long time. I really just took a new penny and showed you because it would take too long to wait for the chemical reaction to work enough that we could see it. Bye, boys and girls.